Hello everyone, and welcome to this Light-O-Rama hardware tutorial. In this video, we'll walk through the basic troubleshooting steps to go through before submitting a support request, since these will be the first things you'll be asked to try. You can save yourself back and forth time in a conversation by knowing the results of these tests up front, and you might just solve your problem in the process. If all of your networks and hardware are properly configured, you'll see green check marks for all of your adapters on this tab of the S6 control panel, and when you use the hardware utility to search for your controllers, you'll see everything you expect to be connected on the right IDs. If this isn't the case, try these troubleshooting steps. If your network adapter has a green check mark, you can skip ahead to the next part of the tutorial. If it's red, make sure that all other Light-O-Rama programs are closed, then try deleting and re-adding the adapter. Pay attention to the network speed and enhanced settings to make sure it's correct for the equipment on that network. If this doesn't solve the adapter problem, you can re-download the device driver from the Light-O-Rama website. Make sure to reboot your computer after the installation process, then try adding the adapter again. If all of your adapters have green check marks, but you can't locate one or more of your controllers in the hardware utility, try these steps in order. First, take a look at the dip switches on any Pixie or CMB24D controllers. Make sure that you've set the proper base unit ID to match your preview props, or the kit that you've purchased. The default base ID of a Pixie is 01, which means the 8th dip switch will be up. Make sure to disconnect the controllers from power whenever you make dip switch changes, then power back up once you're done. Ethernet-based Pixel controllers have a different advanced configuration process, which is not covered in this video. If you are working with equipment that requires unit ID updates in the hardware utility, like CTB16 PC controllers for traditional lights, make sure to connect these one at a time to change the unit IDs using this lower section. If you're troubleshooting, do not attempt to connect and look for all of your equipment at once, because your goal is to make sure that each controller's ID has been correctly set. If you have duplicate IDs, you'll only see one copy of each number, which can lead you to incorrectly think there are problems with your controller's ability to connect to the computer. As the next troubleshooting step, if you refresh and find 0 units, there are 2 places in the hardware utility to double check before moving to physical component troubleshooting. First, make sure that the Comm port dropdown matches what's actually plugged in. This typically isn't a problem with only one network, but you can easily be testing the wrong one on accident if there are multiple networks in your show. If you do have more than one network, do not press Auto Configure or you might erase your intended settings. Be sure to use the Network tab of the S6 control panel. Next, take a look at your max unit ID. You can change this slider to reduce the search time on the network, but don't bring it below your highest unit ID number. For example, if you have a Pixie controller with a base unit ID of 70 and you bring this slider down to the 20s, the utility won't ever find your Pixie with a base unit ID of 70 because it's higher than what you've set the search range for. Make sure that this slider is at an appropriate number for your search. After correcting these 2 options, if you refresh and are still finding 0 units or not as many units as expected, take a look at your Cat5 or Cat6 cables and the connections as the 3rd step. If you find 0 units, try changing out the very first cable between your USB adapter and first controller, then refresh again. When the controllers are waiting for information, the status lights will blink. When they have communication from the computer, the lights will be solid. You can use this information about the status lights to locate other potentially problematic Cat5 or Cat6 cables in the chain based on which controllers are able to connect. If you've made custom cables, especially over 100 feet, these are often the issue. Try replacing them with a purchased cable and refresh again in the hardware utility. A 4th possible problem is the RJ45 port on a controller, the connection point for your Cat5 or Cat6 cable. If cables are removed without the cable tab fully pressed down, these ports can pull out or loosen over time, making for a weaker connection. If you're certain that a cable is working but you can't find or go past a certain controller, try connecting the cable to the other port on the controller and refreshing the network again. If you can find the controller when connected to the other port, you likely have a loose RJ45 port on the controller and will need to send it in for repair. If you've tried all of these steps and are still having trouble with your network or connections, you can reach out to the Light-O-Rama help desk or other official avenues for support. And that's all for this tutorial. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you never miss a notification about new videos.